Hey, good day, folks. It's Tourism Tim Warren here with another exciting episode of Tourism Marketing TV. If you've ever wondered how important is social media to promote your tourism product, whether you're a small lodge, tour operator, destination, you've wondered about, gosh, there's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's this, there's that. It's confusing, I understand. Well, today I've got one of the leading experts of social media and tourism with us today, and we're going to be looking specifically at Twitter. Twitter is an amazing platform that's grown immensely, but I'd be the first to admit it's a little confusing, and sometimes I'm not sure quite what to do with it specifically to promote tourism. And that's why I've asked Ryan Bifulco to be our guest today. Who is the owner and founder and CEO of a company called Travel Spike, and to join us and to share some case studies and give you some very specific tips that you can use tomorrow to start promoting your business on Twitter. And later on we'll be looking at other interviews on other platforms and social media that you can use. But let me just give just a brief background of Ryan's awesome experience. And I'm going to look at my notes because you have so much going on here. Ryan's been involved with the travel industry and technology and the internet for over 20 years. He's a new media expert. He's been on all kinds of interactive travel marketing and tourism media shows, including travel business talk radio. That's probably Sandy Duvetter, ABC Radio, New York Times, US Today. Ryan launched the first ever luxury luxury travel podcast back in 2006, and he speaks regularly at top travel industry shows. I'm going to let you, Ryan, tell a little bit more about your background, but it is truly impressive, and I am honored to have you as a guest today on the show. Welcome, Ryan.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, thanks for having me on. And yeah, as you said, I've been in the travel industry my whole career. Started out with US Air, and then also worked with AirTran and helped them start airtran.com. That was back in 1998, so dating myself a little bit. And then worked here in Atlanta in the .com side before starting Travel Spike, I guess about 10 and a half years ago. And my career has always been centered around everything digital and everything within travel and tourism and hospitality. So anything from airlines to hotels to tourism boards to tour operators. And really, as you said, focused on the internet and digital. And today, of course, we're going to be talking about social media.
Fantastic. Well, there's a lot of people out there who have a lot of experience in social media, but there's not a lot of people who are totally dedicated to the travel and tourism, travel and hospitality industry, and social media and search engine marketing, as you guys are. So it's. I know that what we're going to be talking about today, that the listeners, the viewers out there, you really need to pay attention because this is tourism centric. Everything we're talking about is all about how you can improve your business. Now, you've got some pretty impressive stats down here. We were talking before the show. We exchanged some notes, and one of the things we're gonna do a case study. But I just want to preview you on this, folks. That imagine you had 1,000 Twitter followers, which is impressive, but you're able to take it up to 40,000. That's one of the case studies that Ryan's going to talk about today. But why don't you talk a little bit about how did you get into social media specifically with tourism? I know that you were doing search engine marketing, and what are you noticing in the tourism industry about how the industry's getting involved? Are they stepping up to it? Or is there still a lot of people that go, oh my God, it's just too overwhelming, I don't know how to deal with it?
Yeah, that's a good question. So actually started with blogging on the social media side, way back when, and then about 2005, 2006, when podcasting was starting to become a little bit more popular, I really was excited about that particular opportunity. I know you do, some podcasting as well, and both audio and video podcasts are just something really new and exciting and kind of new in the world of social media in the last, 5, 6, 7 years. And so that's how I kind of got my start on that particular side. And then from there, I've always been trying to keep up with whatever's hot and new, whether it's Facebook or Twitter, and now of course you've got so many of the newer ones, and maybe we can talk about some of those next time. But it's a good point. A lot of folks think that Twitter is maybe just for personal use, or they don't understand fully how you can leverage it for your business, and in particular your tourism business. So I think some of the misconceptions that we see about Twitter, a lot of folks say that they don't have the time to keep up with it, or they don't know how to get started. And it's very, very easy to get rolling on Twitter. You can probably set up your profile in just a few minutes. You don't really have to spend hours and hours trying to fill out lots of different forms and steps. It's very simple to get started with Twitter. And you really, the main thing you want to be able to do is just to be consistent and to be authentic and to be yourself. You don't want to just get on there because somebody like yourself or myself told you to get on there. You really want to make sure you've got something interesting to say, and you want to make sure that you're actually not always talking about yourself. So, for example, if you're a bed and breakfast, you can certainly talk a little bit about yourself and what you have going on, but if your breakfast has local produce that you're incorporating into the menu, then you might want to be talking about the produce guys that are in your area. You might want to be talking about others. So it's a very altruistic medium. You're supposed to actually be talking about the community that you're in, and not just kind of self-fulfilling and constantly always tweeting every single tweet about yourself. So that's something that's very important, that you want to make sure you're talking about the community that's around you. If you're a hotel or a tourism board, you should be talking about events that are going on in your community, and not just things that are happening at your particular hotel. So I think that's definitely one of the tips to take away, is to talk about a topic in general, and maybe establish yourself as an expert, provide some utility, and offer something of value. So Twitter's really all about following people that are going to be interesting and valuable. And nobody wants to follow a hotel if every day they're just talking about what's going on at the hotel. That's kind of boring, and it's really nothing exciting and nothing new. However, if that particular bed and breakfast or that hotel or that tourism board is talking about things going on in the industry, things going on within the community, things that are not just self-fulfilling, then you start to really add up some value, and people will start following you.
I have to admit, I'm guilty. I've been putting out self-promoting tweets. Usually it's to tweet about a new interview with someone awesome like yourself, which it truly is helpful and useful, and I always make these educational oriented. But I haven't been doing a heck of a lot more, except for occasionally. What's your position about asking open-ended questions that would be important to your niche of tourism, to get more dialogue and exchange?
That's a great question. So another tip is that think of Twitter as a two-way street. You should not be going on Twitter and just thinking that you're just writing and tweeting and tweeting and pinging and pinging. You really want to think of it as a conversation. And so if you're going to ask questions, then you want to be soliciting feedback, and you want to actually get people getting information back to you, so they can actually respond to you. A little bit like you would if you were going to send out an email. You would hope to get a response from your email. On Twitter, when you're sending out tweets, you're actually hoping that somebody sees your tweet and resonates with it and answers your question. They also can do what's called retweet, which would mean it's almost like they're forwarding that to their friends, to put it in email terms. So when you're on Twitter, one of the goals is to try to get retweeted and reposted, so that if you're talking about something interesting, maybe people will actually send that along to their friends and colleagues and the people that follow them. So if you have even 100 followers, and one of those followers has 1,000 followers, you're hoping that your followers are actually passing things along to their audience. And that's really viral marketing and social media. It's really what it's all about. It's a community, so it's not just a one-way communication.
Yeah, it's I've noticed that there's certain people that will retweet me more often than others, and I've usually, when I've noticed that they've done that, I reach back out to them and just thank them. for that, and
That's great.
And let them know I appreciate it, and that's something. I've got something coming up. Often I will reach specifically out to them and say, here's something I think that might be of interest to your followers. Thanks for your help, and just leave it at that. And I've had some successes with that. I know that there's some, when you talk about tracking of retweets and finding out who's more often to retweet you, and is there some? I know there's various management tools out there and other pieces of third-party software for managing your Twitter account as far as who you're following and who's retweeting you. Is there any particular softwares or platforms that you would recommend for someone?
Sure. Yeah, we actually have used quite a few of them. We've used one called Hootsuite, and that's a pretty good tool to use. We've used another one called Sprout. Keep in mind too, with Twitter, you can update Twitter from your phone, from your tablet or your iPad, obviously from your laptop or your PC. So Twitter is very much, I think one of the biggest differences between Twitter and, say, Facebook is that Twitter is something you're actually updating more often during the day. Best practice on Twitter is you really should be updating Twitter between 8 and 20 times per day. So I think a lot of people think if they can just jump on Twitter and post one time, that's actually really not going to cut it. Facebook, a little bit different. So Twitter is something that people are doing multiple times per day. And also, if you're having conversations, if you send out one tweet with a question, and then you get 3 people to respond with answers, and then you have to answer them back or thank them, you can see how you're going to actually have a couple of more communications going back and forth during the day, and it's really not something you want to do just once or twice per day.
Well, why don't you and I've got a lot of questions on this, but I'm really interested in hearing your case study about how did a hotel chain go from increase their Twitter followers 40-fold, and why don't you expand on that as a case study a little bit?
Sure. So we were working with Sofitel hotels, and when we first started working with them, they had about 1,000 followers, and now they're up in the 40,000 range. So we're very excited to take them to that higher level, and it's also about not just quantity but also quality. So with someone like Sofitel, it's an upscale hotel brand. It's a company that has roots in France, and so they have at the hotel they actually have a signature French restaurant. And so we wanted to make sure that the people that we were interacting with on Twitter were luxury travelers and people that were interested in gourmet, French dining. So we also had a quality control to the program in addition to increasing the quantity. One of the things we did is we looked at a local level. Sofitel actually has 9 properties in North America. They have 1 in Canada and 8 in the States. And so we appointed a social media coordinator at each of those 9 properties. And then our team was on a regular basis kind of in communication back and forth with kind of the boots on the ground actually at the hotel. And they worked really well together to keep up with events and news. As I was mentioning, things that are going on down the street from the hotel are definitely interesting and newsworthy, and the kinds of things that you might want to actually post on Twitter. So if the LA Sofitel was getting involved with a gifting suite with celebrities during the Emmys or some kind of a big event that was going on, those things are interesting and newsworthy, and in real time we were able to update folks that might be interested in that particular event. So that was one of the keys to success, was making sure you have that local component, and then also, again, not just talking about yourself and talking about things that are going on in your area. We were also very, very interactive, so we did ask questions and answer questions, and we tried to be very helpful and provide value, and we found that we got some great response and some great feedback from that. Some of the other things that we do within the travel industry, Tuesday Tim, is a very important day on Twitter. I know it's a lot of alliteration there, but there's something called Travel Tuesday. And so on Tuesday, if you use the hashtag, which is the pound symbol, the hashtag is Travel Tuesday. And so on Tuesday, I would encourage folks that are on Twitter to participate in Travel Tuesday and to use the hashtag pound Travel Tuesday. Sometimes people even shorten it a little bit and use, pound TT, but a lot of people use pound Travel Tuesday. Mm-hmm. And if you are attaching that to your tweets on Tuesday, you can actually have conversations and communicate with other colleagues in the tourism industry and talk about what's going on in the industry and what interesting new things that you're involved in. And you're going to be much more likely to have somebody see your tweets and potentially retweet you if you're participating in something like the Travel Tuesday. Another key day on Twitter is Thursday. There's actually something called TTOT, and that is Travel Talk on Twitter. So that would be pound TTOT, and that's on Thursday, and that's Travel Talk on Twitter. And that's, again, just folks in the tourism sector and the hospitality sector just talking about Twitter and social media within the travel sector, all on Thursday. So Tuesdays and Thursdays are really key days to be very involved on Twitter. You could also argue that Friday is a very important day. Friday is when they have what's called Follow Friday, which I'm sure you've been involved in, Tim, where you can actually pick up some new followers. What you're doing on Friday is you're shouting out to people that you're interested in following and people that you hope might follow you. And so if your business if you have a pet-friendly hotel, you want to be maybe reaching out to people that are in the pet industry. You might kind of do some shout-outs to those folks on Friday, hoping that they might follow you back. So Follow Friday, pound FF, and pound Follow Friday are some really great hashtags to be using on Friday when you can actually try to build and grow your number of followers out of the 7 days of the week. If you ask Twitter, they would certainly tell you that Friday is one of the key days when everybody on Twitter is gaining steam and picking up momentum and gaining more followers on Fridays because you're shouting out. Tim, you mentioned that you like to thank people. So during the week, if you're having conversations with people, you might want to thank those types of people on Friday during Follow Friday and hope that they would actually reciprocate.
Nice. Wow. Awesome tips. I'm taking some notes over here. I'm embarrassed to say I did not know about Travel Tuesday. It's a reflection of really, I think I have 3,500 followers on Twitter, but I'm sorry, folks, that I have not been more engaged. I'm probably more engaged on my blog site and maybe a little bit more on Facebook and LinkedIn, but this is, you've given some great tips to simplify this. I want to bring it back around, Ryan, to people might be thinking, oh, those are great tips, and wow, that's 40,000 followers. That's great. How did you and Sofitel, and how would a independent tourism professional, how would they equate that to new inquiries, new bookings, new sales, new arrivals? How do you track that? How do you connect that?
That's a great question, and I think really that you can look at that in a couple different ways. Number one, another thing to really consider is that you want to typically you start out using Twitter for marketing purposes. You definitely want to look at it from a branding and awareness perspective, and then as far as if you're really trying to get bookings, you have to be very careful not to be too salesy on Twitter. So it's very much a soft sell. You don't want to jump on Twitter and from day one start just trying to focus on getting bookings, because it's really not the way that the community works. And you would never go up to somebody you don't know at a cocktail party, not even really say hello to them, and just walk up to them and try to get them to buy some plastic widgets from you.
Yes.
So what you want to make sure you're doing is you would actually go up to them, shake their hand, have a conversation with them. Maybe at the end of that conversation, you may exchange business cards and you may keep in touch later. And that's how you really have to be looking at social media as a whole, and in particular Twitter. So you want to make sure you're having some conversations, adding some value, as you said, building up your number of followers and then engaging with them. and offering them something interesting. Then kind of step two would be, once you have a decent amount of followers and you're providing some value to them, another idea that you can do is maybe if they mention the code, Twitter 229, they get 15-20% off of their particular, booking at your hotel. So you can start to do some special promotions, and of course you can track those very easily with the rate code. You can also track them, you can have a separate landing page for those folks. You can have separate tracking links. There's systems out there like Bitly and other programs that can track the number of clicks that you're getting from those different tweets. So it is something you can do to actually track it down to the penny. But you want to make sure that your main goal of jumping on Twitter from day one should not really be about trying to discount your product and sell. You want to make sure that you're adding some value, and then you'll see that people will reciprocate and people will talk about you and what a great guy you are and what a great brand you are, what a great hotel you are, what a tremendous destination you are, and you'll go much further.
Sage advice, Ryan. I couldn't agree more that at the end of the day we're in a people business, and it's about creating relationships, and Twitter is just another incredible new channel for us to turn strangers into friends and friends into customer over time while we're adding value. And I love the fact that with Twitter, especially with a B2C situation, you could have all these conversations going on there with other clients, and clients could be tweeting about you and talking about, oh, I went into this special event with this tour operator, or getting them engaged in it. To me, that's one of the most powerful aspects of social media, is when we can get our clients selling for us, and Twitter is a great place for that. Well, I've gotten some great tips today, and I'm going to be writing this up. Two things. One, what is your Twitter name? How can people follow you on Twitter? And how can they get a hold of you? Give us your domain and such.
Sure. So, the account on Twitter is called Travel Media Guru, Travel Media Guru. And the website is travelspike.com, and there's a lot more information about some of the different things that we've done and some of the different tourism clients that we've worked with over the years. I know we talked about kind of a larger hotel chain, and also just wanted to mention kind of a smaller niche brand on Twitter that we worked with, and this is a company that did not have a massive $10 million marketing budget that was mentioning the Twitter handle on TV commercials. I think some people get discouraged because a lot of the bigger brands that are out there, the Coca-Colas of the world, are able to put their Twitter address on their TV commercials. And so it's a lot easier to get tons and tons and tons of followers when you're mentioning your Twitter address all over all of your marketing. But to give an example of a smaller niche client, the client was actually JourneyPod, which is actually the first podcasting program that we started doing. We were able to take the JourneyPod account from zero on Twitter to now about 30,000 followers.
Wow.
And so that's a brand that's not running TV commercials. That's a brand that is really, I would say, all organic, and something that we were able to do just really by being active and adding some value on Twitter. So that's another great case study, and you can check that out. That's JourneyPod on Twitter.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, because I know that so many of the viewers are small to medium-sized independents, and you can start from nothing and really grow something. If you're not following me, I'm twitter.com/tourismtim. So I would encourage you to join me, and I know I get a lot of questions on my blog, and a lot of people email me, and I'd like to start having more of a dialogue with you, my viewers, and you as well, Ryan, on Twitter. Let's exchange, send me your questions, to send me what's up with your business, and I look forward to adding value to your business and helping you increase your sales and arrivals. This has been great, Ryan. I look forward to more interviews where we can talk about Facebook, we can talk about LinkedIn, we can talk about TripAdvisor, and the many, many other channels in the social media world. that all of us are in the tourism industry need to be engaged with, and that's my commitment to you and the viewers to provide useful tools, advice, and tips so we can pursue our dreams. So Ryan, thank you, sir. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, and look forward to talking next time, maybe on some of the other social media channels.
Excellent. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks.